dealers just aren't going to be able to sell trucks. I mean, just look at trucks that GMC's trying to pitch vehicles like a 6.2 liter SEMA modified pickup truck, half ton, 1,500 for $150,000. How about a Yukon Denali XL? Yeah, an SUV that I think was supposed to be intended for family hauling with a little bit of luxury flavor and goodness, but this affordability crisis is going to kick into high gear because they clearly don't think, or they clearly believe that people can actually afford $138,000 for a family SUV with a few luxury amenities. That is literally ludicrous. How about a 2024 GMC 3/4 ton, a 2400 or 2500 for $136,000. Even honestly, just a brand new 1500 AT4 GMC pickup, a good old pickup, pick-me-up truck for $80,000. 80 grand, I mean, it wasn't long ago that a new BMW midsize 5 Series would cost that kind of money, and now we're pretty much smack dab in the middle of mainstream high-quality plastics and components. Actually, I don't know if it's so high quality, but that's what they're charging. GMC and all of the Chevy and GMs are way over 100 grand if you're looking for the diesels or the Denalis. If you're okay in getting something garden variety, lower, smaller engines, you're still going to pay over $80,000 for something that doesn't have steel rims on it and a basic set of rubber floors. Yeah, of course, you can get into something a little bit cheaper there, but this whole affordability crisis is kicking it really, really into high gear. So that's GMC. What about the other brands? Do you think they're selling vehicles for these higher prices? Well, actually, looking over on the computer here, I'm finding a 2024 Ram 1500 TRX 4x4 crew cab with the, I don't know, 5.7 box, $166,000, everyone. $166,000. Where did we go so wrong in the pricing of some of these vehicles? And I'd love to know who can actually afford this crap. A lot of these manufacturers are putting out these vehicles, and I gotta wonder if people are actually buying this. I don't see many of these trucks on the road. Yeah, you see fleet trucks, and yeah, you'll see new trucks that companies are slapping their logos on the sides, but truly, how many people are buying one of these late model Ram TRX pickup trucks? I don't see many around. Or even, how about a Ram 3500 Limited? You're $128,000 there. We scroll down and we can have a look at, a 3500 Limited, another 122 grand. And we kind of go down, down, down. We see other vehicles. It's not until you get into the territory of about $115,000, what does that buy you? What does 115 grand buy you in a Ram these days? Well, it looks like a 1500 TRX with a 6.2 liter SRT Hemi supercharged V8 and adaptive something or another. A 2000, oh wait a minute, that's a 22, so that's a used vehicle, $116,000. I guess I got to check the year on that. That's used. Going down, what I do actually see, when you stretch and go up to about $95,000, I find you can get yourself a 2023 Ram 1500 Limited. So quite obviously, kind of a dressed up looking pickup truck. Certainly not anywhere near the top, but it's up there. 95 grand for a half ton Limited. As we go down, we can get $90,000, gets us a 2500 Bighorn Ram, or 1500 Sport gets you can get into it for about $85,000. Where are these manufacturers getting this pricing from? There was a time many moons ago, it wasn't even that long ago, where you could get yourself a really nicely dressed up, what I would say a Chevy half ton with the bigger engine, quite dressed up for about $45,000, $40,000. As a matter of fact, I'm driving a 2000 Ram. Now that was 20 years ago, granted, but that truck was $27,000. SLT, kind of lower to mid, but 20 grand, like $25,000, $27,000. And at that same time, I remember the 4x4, a little bit more dressed up version of that truck would be about $35,000. So where are those prices? And I know inflation happens, but how did we get from a $35,000, $40,000 pickup truck 20 years ago to now, for that same truck, like a Limited would be probably on the higher end, but basically we're talking about something a little lower here, you know, 80,000 bucks for something comparable now of similar specifications. Clearly some of these manufacturers are really, I mean, it's not even about inflation. Year on year inflation is 3 to 5%. That doesn't add up very well, does it? So clearly some of these manufacturers are dressing, you know, putting the old, what they say, you know, I don't know, lipstick on a pig, but it's still kind of a pig, right? I mean, what we're looking at here, going down, what about Ford? What does Ford have to offer? Well, let's take a look in here as I pull up some of the Ford products and see what they have. See if they're even more competitive. Here, I find myself a 2023 Ford Raptor. This is an 801A 4x4 Super Crew. And this truck's listed at $124,000. Yeah, okay. And how about a 23 Ford F-150 Lightning Lariat? Now, we know the Lightnings have been hard to sell, and Ford's been struggling selling the Mustang Mach-E's and the F-150 Lightnings. But I think what's happening there is the market's probably a little slumped on the Lightnings. But I do see a 23 Lightning here for 96,000 bucks. And clearly I figure that seems to be more of Ford trying to motivate and incentivize the purchase of their electric truck, because they haven't been selling all that well. I even actually see an F-150 Lightning Lariat for $76,000. And as I go down my list, I'm seeing something a little dressed up. This is where stuff starts really going off the rails. A Ford F-150 Shelby Off-Road. Well, Shelby's got the name. I'm not sure it's really a collectible name, but it's a name. And they've got a Shelby Off-Road. There's actually a lot of these here. $160,000, folks. What's going on here with this? I'll even add, there's one truck here that's absolutely mind-blowing to me. So Ford is right getting in bed with the Stellantis, the Rams, as well as the GMC and the 1500 and 2500s. They're all competing with each other for who's the top dog in terms of charging the most for their pickup trucks, and who's the first one to go out of business and go bankrupt because people aren't buying these trucks. And I believe there's got to be a pendulum swing here. We're probably swinging all the way one way, and at some level, it's got to come back. How does it come back? Well, we also know that VPs, the directors, the top pops, and the big players at all these car manufacturers are obviously cashing in, making massive profits year on year. And the last couple of years have proven that. They've made more profits. We all know what's been going on here. Some of the CEOs were, you know, making over $30 million because they feel that it was motivated as per the performance of the organization. So they were justifying in getting that payment. Well, where do you think that money's going, folks? Where do you think that big paycheck is going? It's coming out of your pocket and my pocket if we're buying these trucks. I'm not buying a truck at this price. You can pretty much guarantee, take your money to the bank. I'm not paying. Here's a truck. Now this literally tops the cake. I have never seen a pickup truck at this caliber, at this price point, ever. And they're clearly trying to push an envelope. Where are these manufacturers going to stop? What I'm looking at here, everyone, is a 2023 Ford F-150 Raptor R 802A 4x4 Super Crew. I don't know. Any guesses? Any guesses? This is unbelievable, everyone. $200,000, $885. $201,000 list price for an F-150 Raptor. I don't care what kind of suspension system. I bet it's probably made of kryptonite, and it probably rides on unicorn bellies, and it also probably has Superman cape on the back, and it probably flies you to the moon when you hit that special button in the middle of the console. But regardless of all those little things that it does, at $200,000, I can't imagine any Ford F-150 being worth close to $250,000. I don't know. Clearly some of these manufacturers are out to lunch, so I don't even know. I'm just scratching my head right now, folks. I mean, with the affordability crisis kicking into high gear, where does this end for anyone? The working person loves a pickup truck. I drive a truck, an old one. everybody loves a truck because it can haul around and take the kids to the school, and you can pull a boat to the, to the campsite, or maybe you go camping or boating or hauling the junk off to the dump. It's a very versatile vehicle. A lot of the pickup trucks now, have luxury amenities, so you feel like you're driving a Cadillac, but you have the versatility, and you can do a lot of things with them. I get it, and maybe that's how some people are justifying it. But then you think about a $200,000 truck, and you couple that with a subprime lending rate of 11 or 12%. Even if you have a rating of 680 or 690, and you're considered a prime borrower, you're still going to pay 9.5% potentially on some of these vehicles, unless they're offering up special incentives. A lot of these vehicles are going to have over 9% borrowing or lending rate. Can you imagine what you end up paying for that at the end of an 8-year term or a 7-year term? It's just absolutely obscene, everyone. I don't know what to say, but other than good luck to these manufacturers. Remember GM went through that big bailout a bunch of years back, and Ram, they struggled a bunch of years ago. Ford's been having to rebrand themselves and do some different things to try to remarket themselves. And the old F-150, the best-selling truck in America. Well, I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer. I do think that a lot of these manufacturers are going to get their heads out of their rear ends to figure out that people can't afford these trucks. And the few folks that actually can, that's great. I mean, if you can afford it, it's like anything. Not everybody can afford some of these high-end, Bugatti Chiron. Like, not everybody's affording. There's always some that do. That's great. The same thing goes here. It's all price point slotted down. But the reality is, a lot of these pickup trucks are just out of the reach now of the common person that just normally would be targeted driving these vehicles. And that's just where we're getting to. Unfortunately, I'd like to see the pendulum swing. I'd like to see some of these manufacturers get back down to brass tacks and bring it back down to reality. But let's face it, I think the buyers have been driving this market to the place where we're at today. People have been paying that next level. Manufacturer, charges 90 grand for that truck. The next one that comes up behind, the manufacturer might charge, or the dealer might charge 95,000. They might wait a little longer, but somebody slides in the door and buys that truck for 95. And then, of course, they slot the next one at $98,000 and might wait a little longer, but the buying frenzy is force people to dive in there, and somebody comes along 4 months later and buys that truck at $98,000. And then the manufacturer says, hey, there's an appetite. Why don't we charge $103,000 for that truck? And the story goes on and on and on. But this is what's been going on in the truck market. And I can't help but think at some level, they're going to go bankrupt. Somebody's going to flip the switch. This is not going in a way that we can handle it. The affordability crisis, with people can't afford to even rent anymore, a house, people can't afford a loaf of bread. People can't afford a $200,000 pickup truck or a $166,000 pickup truck. Let's get back down to that $40,000 pickup truck. Brand new, 4x4, crew cab, with some of the features. Let's get that truck back out there. Let's get that $30,000 pickup truck, full size. Not some nickel and dime Mitsubishi on a third ton or a quarter ton truck that's going to last for 3 years before it falls apart. Let's get a full-size pickup truck that people can actually afford, everybody. Anyway, I do think this trend has to stop some point soon.